This one supply and demand setup just paid me 50 points on Nasdaq for a total profit of $518. Check it out.
Here's how the trade played out. Before we was creating, we was making lower lows and lower highs. It wasn't until we went up here, and this is the hour time frame. Once we did this, we did a change of character. Right here, we did a change of character. We broke this lower high. So from now on, I am looking for, we are on an uptrend, and I am only looking for demand zones because we are in a uptrend. So the market is now making higher highs and higher lows. As you can see right now, made a higher high, higher low, higher high. And this is where it stopped. Then from here, the market made two demand zones. This demand zone down here and this demand zone right here. Since this demand zone is closer to price, this demand zone is called the extreme zone. It's further away from price. So what I'm looking for is some type of correction for the market to go back into one of these demand zones so I can go for an entry. And that's exactly what it did. So the market started to do something interesting. It started to go sideways. After it made a correction, tapped into this demand zone the other day, the market just started to move sideways. Right? It started to move like this. This is called internal structure. As you can see right here, it tapped back into that demand zone. This is what caused me to pause because now this demand zone has been hit twice, which is not a good thing because I wanted the first time I expected this demand zone to break this structure, this weak higher high, which it didn't. It had to come back and collect more orders to break this higher high. So what I did, now I have to go to the smaller time frame. Okay, so here's the smaller time frame. This is the internal structure, how the internal structure was going. We made this low, we made this lower high, we came back to this low. It didn't go into that demand zone. What I was waiting for it to break this lower high, which it did. I waited for it to break this lower high, then I waited for the pullback. And I got in roughly about right here on this pullback because I had to make sure that we were going up because we could have easily went down and start to make our way towards that extreme zone that I pointed out earlier. So going down to the lower time frame, you can see exactly what's going on in the internal structure to get a better entry. So that's precisely what I did to get a better entry. So I waited till we did a change of character. So I knew we was going to uptrend. Then I waited for the pullback and I got in for roughly from here. It was like 62 points. And my stop loss was just about here. So this was it was like a 2-to-1. This is a 2-to-1 trade. It was a quick trade. I got in late, so I didn't want to stay in long, especially now that we broke this structure right here, this higher high. I knew price was going to go up a little bit and start to make a correction. So I didn't want to stay in the trade long. I typically always go for 2-to-1 all the way to a 5-to-1, if I can, 6-to-1. Because I'm not a scalper, I'm more of a day trader, so I trade imbalances in the market, so I stay in the trade for a little bit longer than a typical trader or a scalper. But this was a quick trade only because I got in late and I was unsure because it did tap that demand zone twice. So that's what the trade looked like. I went off a demand zone. Then I made sure market structure played a big role into it for my entry. And I waited for a small correction to get in to make the trades. So this granted me about $500 for about 60 points. Little under 60 points. Not a bad trade. Let me know in the comments if you got any questions regarding your trade.